Hello again, everybody. Time for a look at the Monday morning simulations in our Baseball Simulator League for December 16th. First set of simulations for the day and the fourth overall for the season. Everybody played, and there were some wild games in terms of run scoring in this particular set of games. So let's get right to a full scoreboard. At Miami, the A's pound the Marlins 20-6, and no, it's not like you'd think, where they had a couple of huge innings. Oakland had 6 different 3-run innings in the first, second, fourth, fifth, sixth, and ninth, and 2 in the eighth. 20 runs, 19 hits for Oakland. No errors for the A's. The Marlins had 6 runs on 12 hits and no errors. That's I'm wondering if that's ever been done in real baseball history, where a team had 6 different 3-run innings. That's incredible. Dave Stewart the win, 1-0. Josh Johnson the loss, 0-1. He lasted a little over 3 innings. Home runs for the A's: Jimmy Fox with number 2, Giambi, Al Simmons, and Max Bishop each at number 1. Mike Lowell, number 1 for the Marlins. 20-6, Oakland with the victory. No, that's not Raiders and Dolphins. Braves beat the Dodgers 2-1 at Atlanta. Warren Spahn 1-0 over Earl Hershiser, 0-1, and Kimbrel saved number 2. No home runs. The line score 2-7-0 for Atlanta, 1-4-0 for LA. Texas pounds Lubs on Boston at Arlington 16-4, 16-20-0 for the Rangers, 4-8-0 for the Red Sox. Ferguson Jenkins the victory, 1-0. The loss to George Winter, 0-1. Home runs for Texas: Palmeiro number 1 and Frank Howard number 2. David Ortiz at number 1 for Boston. Houston beats Washington in Houston 10-7, 10-13-0 for the Astros, 7-11-0 for the Nationals, and once again the Nationals victimized by the big inning. Houston with 8 runs in the fourth. Octavio Dotel got the win in relief for Houston. He's 1-0. Larry Dierker got knocked out and did not make it 5 innings. The loss for Washington to Bren Smith, 0-1. And Billy Wagner saved 2 for Houston. Home runs for the Astros: Berkman hit number 2, Bagwell, Hidalgo, and Cedeno each hit number 1. For the Nationals, number 2 for Dawson, and Carter hit number 1. Yankees beat the Rays at Tampa 6-3, 6-7-1 for New York, 3-8-2 for Tampa. Fritz Peterson the win, 1-0. Jeremy Hellickson the loss, 0-1. Rivera saved 1 for New York. Then you get a pair of home runs, number 3 for Gehrig and number 1 for Mantle. Zobrist to number 1 for Tampa. Padres beat the Phillies 8-3, and they got all 8 in the 4th inning in San Diego. 8-12-0 for the Padres, 3-5-0 for the Phils. Ed Whitson the win, 1-0. Cole Hamels the loss, 0-1. For San Diego, Winfield at number 2, Gwynn and Loretta each number 1. For the Phillies, Ryan Howard number 4, and Rollins hit number 1. Mets beat the Giants 4-1 in San Francisco, or 3-1, 3-1 Mets with the victory. 3-9-0 for New York, 1-4-0 for San Francisco. Matt Harvey the win, 1-0. Mike Krukow the loss, 0-1. And give a save to Randy Myers of the Mets, and that's his first. No homers in the game. Lance Johnson tripled twice for New York. Orioles beat the Angels 8-5 with several small innings. 8-18-0 for Baltimore, 5-12-1 for the Angels. Alan Sothern, who pitched in the early 20th century for the St. Louis Browns, gets the Oriole victory. He's 1-0. The loss to Jared Weaver, 0-1. And Mo Drabowski, the save, is first. Home runs for the Orioles: Frank Robinson hit number 2, Brady Anderson number 1, and Gentile number 1. For the Angels, they got a pair of home runs as well: Troy Gloss and Lance Parrish. I can't talk today. Troy Gloss and Lance Parrish, each at number 1 for the losing Angels. Cubs get their first win and hand the Indians their first loss, although they tried to give the game away. 8-7 the final, but 6 of the Cleveland runs came in the bottom of the ninth. 8-18-0 for Chicago, 7-11-0 for Cleveland. Mark Pryor the win, 1-0. CC Sabathia the loss, 0-1. And Bruce Sutter had to come in the ninth inning to close things out after the Cubs had seemingly had this wrapped up. He picks up save number 1. Home runs both for Chicago. Hartnett number 3. Hack Wilson hit number 1. The Brewers pound lips on the Pirates in Pittsburgh, 16-6 the final there. 16-19-1 for Milwaukee, 6-9-1 for Pittsburgh. Milwaukee scored 8 in the fifth inning. Marty Patton, the win, 1-0. Vern Law, the loss, 0-1. And Ryan Braun, the game's only home run, his first. Diamondbacks beat the Tigers 9-3 in Detroit. Arizona had a 5-run first and a 4-run eighth. 9-13-2 for Arizona. 3-11-0 for Detroit. Ian Kennedy, the win, 1-0 over Jim Bunning, 0-1. The home runs for Arizona, they had 3 homers in the first inning. Montero, Goldschmidt, and Steve Finley each hit number 1. And then in the eighth, Stephen Drew, a grand slam. That was his first homer. No Tiger home runs in this one. Blue Jays off to a surprising start given how they performed in the first simulated league. They beat Kansas City 8-2, and they're 4-0. 8-10-0 for Toronto, 2-8-0 for KC. Dave Stieb 1-0 for David Cohn, 0-1. And Bautista of Toronto, the only home run of the game, his first. Reds won a walk-off game in 10 at home, 9-7 over the Cardinals. This was a wild one. Cincinnati scored 4 in the 7th to get back into the game, and then they won it in the 10th. And obviously with 2 in the 10th inning, they won on a home run. 9-10-3 for Cincinnati, 7-11-0 for St. Louis. Each bullpen had a blown save in this game. The Cincinnati victory is to Jeff Shaw, 1-0. Jason Mott, the Cardinal loss, 0-1. For Cincinnati, Joey Votto, the game-winning home run, is second. And they also got number 1 for Morgan. The Cardinals got a pair of home runs from Willie McGee. White Sox beat the Rockies 17-12, and no, it was not at Coors. It was at U.S. Cellular. 17-19-2 for Chicago, 12-16-0 for Colorado. The White Sox had a 6-run second and a 5-run fifth. The Rockies got back into the game with a 9-run sixth. Reb Russell got the Chicago win. He lasted 5 1/3. He's 1-0. Jeff Francis lasted 1 1/3, and he took the loss 0-1 for Colorado. The home runs for this one, and there weren't a lot, surprisingly, given the high score. The White Sox got number 1 for Jermaine Dye. That was a grand slam. Frank Thomas hit number 3, and Magli Ordonez hit number 1. For the Rockies, Larry Walker hit his first. Twins beat the Mariners 8-5 on a 3-run ninth-inning home run in Minnesota. 8-13-0 for Minnesota, 5-12-0 for Seattle. Jim Cott got the win for Minnesota, 1-0. And Kazuhiro Sasaki took the loss for Seattle, 0-1. Sasaki gave up the home run to Augie Ojeda, who pinch hit for Killebrew. I don't know that you'd see that in real life, but obviously there was something in the simulations that made the the thinking, I guess, get a contact guy in there, it doesn't strike out. You got the winning run at second. And Ojeda pulled a Killebrew and hits a 3-run home run. His first. Maurer hit his first also for Minnesota. Seattle also went long ball. Dan Wilson, Brett Boone, Alvin Davis all hit their first for the losing Mariners. 8-5 Minnesota with the victory. And that wraps up the game results for the first simulations for Monday the 16th of December, the 4th set of simulations overall. Let's take a quick look at the standings. Give you a sense of where everybody stands thus far. We'll start in the National League East. The Braves in first, they are 3-0. The Rangers and the Astros both 2-1. Rays are also 2-1. The Marlins are 0-3. National League Central, which is that Northeast Corridor division, Yankees are 3-1. The Phillies 3-1. The Orioles are 3-1. The Red Sox 2-1. The Mets are 1-2, and the Nationals are 1-3. National League West, which is the California division, the Dodgers and Padres are 2-2. The Athletics 1-2. The Giants 1-3, and the Angels 0-4. American League East in the Industrial division, if you want to call it that, the Blue Jays are off to a 4-0 start. The Indians are 3-1. The Reds 2-1. The Tigers 1-2, and the Pirates 1-2. In the Central, which is the gateway to the West Division, the Diamondbacks are 2-1, the Royals 1-2, Cardinals 1-2, Rockies 1-2, the Mariners 1-2. And in the West, which is the Upper Midwest Division, the White Sox are 2-1, the Twins 2-1, the Cubs and Brewers are both 1-3. That's the wrap for the Monday morning simulations. We'll have more for you later.